So this is a little bit of a weird one. The proper title would be Ungrateful Black British Man Complains About Being Welcomed in Argentina. So yeah, there's a lot to unpack here. Guys, remember that if you enjoy the channel, do consider subscribing. That's always super helpful. And if you want to learn more about survival and preparedness in the crazy world in which we're living in, I strongly recommend you get 3 survival skills and surviving the economic collapse, based on my experience going through just that in Argentina and a lot learned over the years. So let's start with this video. Black Man That Travels is the name of this guy's channel, and this is what he has to say.
The best way to put it. Now I'm going to be straightforward with you guys, so I can explain to you what it's like to live here in Argentina as a black man. Now you will get a bit of racism. People do a bit of staring. They're not used to seeing certain black people in certain parts of Buenos Aires. I'll be straightforward. I'm not here to attack any Argentinian people that I know.
No, you just label everyone as racist and several times, but that's okay. I mean, they just welcomed you into the country that you're not from in ways that you would never be in UK, in case you haven't noticed that. You are in a country where, yes, it is extremely rare to find any black people whatsoever, and yet you managed not only to move there legally without any problem whatsoever. An Argentine woman obviously married you and had a baby with you, which you point out yourself as a brown baby, so that's something you seem to be okay with, but you still feel that you're not being welcomed enough because people look.
Yeah, the majority of the black people that you see, Zuri, look at this TV, look. The majority of the black people that you see here are like West Africans, like Senegalese or Nigerians, and the Senegalese, they just sell stuff on the street. They're like street vendors. So some of them have been treated a bit bad, obviously, because obviously, you know, they don't have documentations. They work here without documentations, and maybe they might get treated in a certain manner. But when I see them, I acknowledge them. I give them a fist pump. I give them a hug. You know, so there is a bit.
It's cool that you're welcoming more to the illegal guy in Argentina, given that it's extremely easy to live legally in Argentina as an immigrant, but you're more okay with the illegal guy selling illegal things on the streets and still not being incarcerated and thrown into prison or kicked out of the fucking country, but you don't have the same generosity towards the people from the country in which you're living. And the woman that you freaking married and had a child with?
Racism over here in Argentina, it's sometimes in your face. My partner cannot acknowledge it because obviously she's Latin, so she's not going to get discriminated in her own country unless there's a classism, you know. But
he's a racist towards his own wife with which he has a child. This is incredible.
As a black person living here, I would say it is interesting because people are interested in your culture and your history. You know, they'll look at your hair, they'll touch your hair. You know, they will ask you certain questions like, where are you from? How long you been here? So most are.
Oh, what a bunch of animals. They ask you where you're from and how long have you been there. And I will just, shooting in the dark, you don't speak a fucking word of Spanish, right? Of course not. Why would you? Why would you learn a single word of the country in which you're living in?
Argentinians are interested to know other nationalities, but there is a bit of racism over here. I'll be straightforward with you guys, anyone that's willing to live here. But there's racism everywhere. Wherever you go, there's racism, discrimination, wherever you go. But people need to understand that Argentina is the whitest nation in Latin America. So with the history of Argentina, there's a lot of Italian descent, a lot of Germans, French, and a lot of Jewish people that came here during the war, during the Holocaust. The Germans.
So there's a lot of Italian. He forgot to mention Spanish, but there's a lot of Italian. There's a lot of Spanish. There's a lot of English. There's a lot of German. There's a lot of Jewish that escaped from the Holocaust and moved to Argentina. And I've known a bunch of Jewish people super happy and grateful of being living in Argentina. And yeah. But it's super racist, right?
Jewish Germans or the Polish when they flew here during the war. So, Argentina's built off European history. And even though there was black people over here, and the history of the black people got wiped out, if you studied the black history of Argentina. But it's a beautiful country.
The myth of black Argentine history being erased. This is something that was propagated by a complete scumbag racist American that decided to bring her social justice culture poison and make up this idea that Argentina has a bunch of hidden black people. That is simply not true. The Argentine people did not erase black people. Argentina is not racist towards those black people. In fact, it is so ironic that he does not even realize why it is that he does not see black people around Argentina, which is the same reason why he already married someone from Argentina, has a mixed race daughter with someone from Argentina, and if his daughter is as welcomed as he was and probably ends up marrying some other Argentine dude, guess what? Guess how his grandchild will look? Yes, it will be 1/4 black. And then it's going to be Italian, Spanish, German, or whatever the hell it is that Argentine person that ends up marrying his daughter comes from. That's how you don't see black people around in Argentina, because unlike the United States, unlike UK, unlike all of these places that point towards Argentina as, oh, it's such a racist place because there's no black people. No, it is because it's so welcoming that anyone that goes there is, yeah, someone will point out that your hair looks like a fucking dirty mop, because it does. It's not because of you're black, it's just because the hairstyle that you have, which is weird as shit. That's on you, my man. But besides that, you're welcomed. You have managed to become integrated into a society that you don't even speak a freaking word of. In a way in which in no other society you would have been welcomed. In a way in which, legally speaking, easiest country to immigrate to, Argentina. You will not have the pain in the ass that is in UK. This gentleman should try moving to UK with his Argentine wife and see how easy it is for her and his own daughter to get citizenship in his own country. He has no fucking idea. That is how ignorant he is. He's running his mouth about Argentina that has welcomed him in a way in which UK would never, but when he goes back to UK, I've known Brit guys that had to leave their own country because they married someone from another European country. It is insane. These guys, British, they married someone from Finland or Norway, and they just have to leave the country because, yeah, your wife and your kids are being kicked out of your own country. That's how racist and discriminatory is UK towards. And it's crazy because up until all of the Brexit thing, you would be much better off just being an immigrant from another European country in UK. Because of the free movement of people, they couldn't actually kick you out. But if you were married as a Brit, you went through hell. In fact, I cannot think of a single British guy that I know, and most of them were married to someone that was not local, that didn't go through this. It is that terrible. And now it's really not all that better. Of course, if you are Muslim, you are in your own country, and that's fine if you're Muslim. But if not, it's probably going to be very difficult. But going back to our friend here about his horrible experience in being welcomed in Argentina.
Inflation's very high. I'll be straightforward. It's very cheap if you're a foreigner. If you've got dollars, if you've got euros, if you've got pound sterling or any currency that holds value, this place is perfect to live because it's cheap, rent is cheap, food is super cheap. Only thing that might be a bit expensive. So what are you doing? What are you doing? Huh?
You know, it really breaks my heart that this guy with his own agenda, with his own baggage, is probably gonna pass that along. There you go. This guy is going to pass along his racism, this mental poison that these people have to his own daughter. To his own daughter from a place that she would not have to go through that. If she had the right mentality, she would have no problem whatsoever. Yeah, your dad is black. Yeah, not common. But you know what? That's not an issue. No one cares, right? In fact, as he points out himself, in many cases, it's curious. It's interesting. So, where are you from? Oh, you're a British guy? Yeah, I'm a black British guy. Okay, that's cool. Nice. All right. and his daughter would be a lot less discriminated in Argentina than in UK. The idea of, yeah, she's going to be a little bit brownish. She's going to be a little bit tanned, right? Not a big deal. No one will even notice. She's going to be just like a bunch of other people from the country. But because of his baggage, and he will pass along, she will be raised as a victim. And good luck going into UK with this on your back anyway.
We got Malcolm X.
Malcolm X, okay.
But, wow, you have an elephant. Elefante. Wow. But yeah, unless you're gonna go to like some tourist areas and you're gonna spend a lot of money, you know, on certain touristic places, I'll be straightforward with you. Argentina is very cheap. I've been to certain parts in the north. It is unique, beautiful landscape, but it's a country that has potential. You know, I'm not going to get into the political side, but Argentina has a lot of potential, and you know,
needs to be said also, because he's not mentioning it. It's cheap on certain things, not so cheap on others. If you're gonna be buying property, let's say an apartment, as I'll assume he's living in an okay middle class neighborhood, that's gonna be as expensive, most likely. Maybe not expensive UK expensive, but American, you will be surprised that yeah, it's gonna be a couple $100,000 to buy a small place in a nice area, or more, or $500,000, or it depends on what you want. But anything that is nice-ish is gonna be expensive. Don't expect everything to be super cheap. Food is gonna be very affordable. A good school, like primary $500 a month, $600 a month is not rare at all. There's of course cheaper, but it's not as if you're going to be going to a good public school. That is extremely rare, and getting even more rare these days as time goes by. But all of those things that you may take for granted depending on where you come from, a car is super expensive. It is a little bit of a luxury to have a couple vehicles in Argentina. It's not as if you can go with a couple $1,000s and buy an okay car that kind of works, or $2,000-$3,000. Yes, it's not great, but it runs. It takes you from one place to another. No, that in Argentina is gonna be 2, 3, 4, 5 times more expensive. A brand new car, super expensive. Any nicer brand like a BMW, Audi, that's going to be very expensive, especially if you compare it to prices in UK or Europe, or definitely the United States.
Obviously, hopefully things are going to change. Now, I've been living here for almost 2 years. I've been back to the UK, back and forth. I do miss the UK, I do miss London, but obviously my wife's Argentinian, so I live here. It's cheaper, it's way cheaper than Europe, If you've been here on holiday, you would know. So I'll definitely recommend to come to this country, even as a black person, come to this country, explore.
The guy is fixed on the idea that, yeah, it is, even the black man that's your... people that just make an identity of the color of their skin and ethnicity. Dude. Yeah, well, this would be the typical Londoner of his age, I guess, these days. And this is why things are the way they are, right? Your identity is all about how everyone is horrible towards you.
But you will get a bit of discrimination. I'm straightforward. I'm not here to beat around the bush. But it is a country that has so much uniqueness and is so diverse, so I'll definitely recommend you guys to explore and understand the Argentinian people. The majority of them are very friendly, a lot of them are sociable, a lot of them are willing to learn, a lot of them are...
So which one is it? The majority, again, he married a local woman. In a couple years that he's been there, he's been so welcome that he married someone from the country and has a child. So it's not just hooking up, no, he formed a family with someone. Do you have any idea how impossible that would be pretty much anywhere? How rare that would be anywhere that you go? Especially in UK, I've lived there for 4 years. I know what I'm talking about. I've had a great relationship with my neighbors, but it's not Argentina. In terms of friendliness and closeness and people relationships, there's no comparison whatsoever. You're never gonna be welcomed as a local in a couple years in a place like that. In the United States, it's gonna be depending where you are, and yeah, US is a lot more friendly than UK. A lot more friendly. You have no idea how different that is.
willing to understand your culture. A lot of them are willing to help you out. Like yesterday, I couldn't get an Uber, and then there was a lady with her daughter. So cool, you know, making sure that me and my daughter got a taxi and we got home safe. So the majority of Argentinians are very, very polite. You do get the minority that can be a bit, you know, I don't know, can be a bit, you know, different. But I'll definitely recommend to live here if you want to save some money. Energy. What is that? Circle? Triangle? Huh? So that's a square. But anyway, guys, yeah, that's my experience living here. Would I go back to the UK? I would definitely go back to the UK. I would definitely go back to live in the UK. Maybe next year, maybe the year after, I don't know. But I do plan to live in the UK with my daughter and my wife in the future. Definitely want to go back. Latin America is a very unique continent. It's rich with culture and history. It's so diverse. So.
I really hope he does. I really hope he does move to UK with his Argentine wife and his Argentine daughter, I would assume. But just the Argentine wife will be fun enough, especially being a British man himself as he is. Because I know what he will go through. Because I've seen British people become expats of their own country, forced so by their own government because of the person they chose to marry. Yeah, maybe he will appreciate Argentina a little bit more. Maybe not, because some of these people, there's just nothing gets through them. They have already made up their mind about how much of a victim they are, how horrible everyone is, even though he says himself that they're extremely friendly and people go out of their way to help him, and the only thing he can repeat time and again is how racist everyone is, and how they stare at him and his hair. I mean, dude, your hair is weird as fuck. It's not because of your skin color, it's because of your choice. But that's...
Latin America's beautiful. It's definitely beautiful. I'll definitely go back to live in the UK. Why did I choose to live in Argentina? Well, basically, my wife's Argentinian, and it's the cheapest option. It's cheaper to live. It's cheaper to raise a family if you've got foreign currency, because obviously I earn in pounds. So that's why I chose to live in Argentina. Would I live here for the rest of my life? No. You know, it's good to learn and live in other countries and educate yourself. What has been the most crazy experience or weirdest experience that I've had in Argentina? Just the stares, you know, just people staring, and maybe like laughing at the hair or whatever. So I've had, my wife is there, just the stares, and maybe people, you know, people like, you know, laughing at their hair. But obviously some of those people are probably never seen maybe a colored person before.
You could easily go, I mean, these days, as he mentions, there's a lot of these African people that are selling stuff on this. I mean, like anywhere else. Lots of people from Africa that just got a ticket and got over there and they're selling stuff on the streets. And yeah, but up until a few years ago, I mean, you could be a 30-year-old person that never left Argentina. You wouldn't have seen a single black person like this man. You may have seen a bunch of people like his daughter, or maybe a little bit lighter skinned than his daughter, because again, Argentina has been always extremely welcoming to people, and the erasing of black culture is not because of that. It's because of what I explained before, because of marrying white people, because it's so welcoming, it's so the opposite of what people like this man says, that it ends up becoming part of, he's a little bit darker skin, he's a little bit more tan, he's a little bit more, wheat color. There's a nice YouTube channel from a couple British guys that I really like, you're a little bit more tan. These things are so common in not only Argentina, but in South America in general. It's because of inclusion. It's because of you're not being separated from the rest. And when you marry white people and your kids end up marrying white people as well and having kids with them and whatnot, within a couple generations, you no longer look like an African dude, because that's how genetics works. Now, if you had segregation and you were not welcomed in that society and you were kept separate, you would look the exact same way 100 years later. But not in Argentina, because you will not be exposed to that, because it is not what this ungrateful British guy says. They are extremely welcoming, super inclusive of whoever, comes to the country looking for a future for themselves, and not racist at all. It is sad, but I really hope he goes back to UK, especially because you don't need people like this in your country, right?
Or maybe they're just curious, but I don't know. That's probably been the weirdest thing experience that I've had over here. But in general, it is interesting. It's interesting. Food is amazing.
For a guy that made such a big deal about how racist the country is, all he could say about it is, people looked at me, which people look at me all the time as well. I don't, yeah. How is it that you know that they're looking at you and someone, made fun of your hair because you have whatever the hell that is going on there? I mean, yeah, someone being open and transparent and having a good sense of humor will probably, hey, so you probably want to get yourself a mop instead of using your hair, bro. Just shitting around with you. But you had not been discriminated even once, because you could not even mention once in 2 years any incident. Oh, no, you're black. You're not getting into my cab. You're not welcome. No, none of that. You were not attacked. You were not insulted. Fucking look up that in UK and see how they treat people, not only from Latin America, people from anywhere. The racism that you have in UK compared to what he's explaining. People get attacked on buses. People get attacked on the streets, right? And not because of the Middle East. No, anyone. So if you want to start looking and comparing notes on who's more racist here or there, you're going to lose. Argentina is the most welcoming country in the fucking planet, bar none. That's simply the way it is. If you can accept that and appreciate that, that's going to be entirely on you. But it is so rich that someone from UK thinks that Argentina is damn racist. That is something. Again, I really hope he goes, and I hope his Argentine wife goes. And yeah, she will be waking up to another reality that she obviously does not know of.
I'll be straightforward. But anyway, I don't know what else to say.
Yeah, guys, it's gonna be it. I hope you learned something from this. As someone that has traveled and lived, and I've lived, of course, most of my life in Argentina. I've lived in the States. I did live in UK for 4 years and super happy about it. And the minute that I didn't like something, and very specifically in my case, it was mostly the weather. I got out before all of the craziness about people being incarcerated for YouTube comments and Facebook crimes. I wouldn't have gone if that had happened before. If it had been that crazy, maybe it was going on and I hadn't realized it, but I did my research quite a bit, and I can tell you that was not something that you saw in the news. When I was living, and at least for me, the reason for leaving was, mostly it was a matter of weather and a few little things that started getting a little bit like you see now, nothing that bad. But that was it. And the minute that I decided I didn't want to be there anymore, you know what I did? I left. If you don't like being in a country, leave. If you think Argentina is so damn racist and horrible, leave. I mean, yeah, he makes his case about, well, it's cheaper for me, but that's kind of lame if you're living in a place simply because it's cheaper. I mean, things are more important. You have your mixed race daughter in racist Argentina. Yeah, maybe there are things that are more important than money. At least that's the way I see it. But let me know what you think, guys, in the comments there below. Take care. See you next time.